Welcome back. So let's touch on the extremely hot skills in the networking field today, and the ones that will be there for at least few years to come. Okay? And the point of making those skills is I want you to start thinking about planning or having an end goal in one of these areas, or towards one. Your goal should be one of those skills, one of these categories, if you will. Okay? So hot skills. And here I am just confirming what I said before, that I'm not telling you not to assimilate the knowledge in the CCNA, Network Plus, and CCNP. This is your baby steps, the first steps to understanding that. But what I'm saying is, don't invest a lot into these and put them as your goal. Okay? So someone is working now, he will study the Network Plus, CCNA, and CCNP. Fine, that's good. Okay, make sure that it doesn't take you 1 year and a half to finish that. Okay, and make sure that it's not brain dumps. Make sure that it's deep understanding, because that's the foundation on top of which a very high and high rise is going to be established. And the high rise is your career. If the foundation is shaky, guess what will happen to whatever is on top of that. Okay, so foundation is CCNA, CCNP. It depends on, this is a network foundation, but how about if someone wants, let's touch on the skills and then we can come back to that question because I'm jumping the gun. So now, cloud is one of the categories. Data center architecture, software-defined networks is another. Network function virtualization and the solutions associated with that, hot solutions with that. Virtualization, VMware, Microsoft, Citrix, KVM, Red Hat. Understanding the server hardware, which will be virtualized, and architecture. Security. As the more we open up to public stuff, to sharing infrastructures, to cloud and all that, security becomes more and more a very critical and hot skill that is going to always be on high demand. Okay? Now let's touch on each category of them. So cloud, what are example certificates? Cloud Plus, this is the counterpart of Network Plus and A Plus. AWS, Amazon Web Services Architect certificate. Microsoft Azure related certificates. VMware vCloud knowledge and certificates. Cisco also has now a CCNA cloud, and they are working on building the content for CCNP cloud. Okay, so when I say don't invest a lot of time on CCNA and CCNP, I didn't mean the cloud ones. So the cloud ones are still good certificates, and since CCNP is not yet finished, there is no CCNP cloud worldwide yet. Data center. So why is data center important? Because the cloud providers, they build huge, humongous data centers to host everything. Okay. So data center architectures are very important. How to build data center, what are the right solutions, how to design it, how to build an architecture and blueprint. Understanding the software-defined networks and the software-defined network solutions. For instance, CCNA, CCNP, and CCIE data center is very, very hot. Cisco ACI is the future of the Cisco data center solutions. Okay. Now, why am I saying CCIE data center is hot? My proof for that is if you go on the Cisco website, and later on we'll talk about the certification website, and you look at the CCIE data center blueprint, you'll find that Cisco is now injecting into the new blueprint, which is valid as of this July 2016. You'll find a lot of questions about automation, about programmability, about SDN related stuff and all that. So this is coming, guys. This is coming. Cisco is reinventing CCIEs to keep up with the hot skills, but the current stuff are not there yet. The CCIE data center is the first to go. Okay, network function virtualization. Okay, so VMware NSX, this is the hottest network function virtualization solution. Some people refer to it as an SDN solution, but I think it's more of the network function virtualization. Palo Alto, they have next generation firewalls that are virtual. F5, they have load balancers that are virtual. So network function virtualization, guys, is going across. Virtualization solutions. Okay, again, we spoke about that. The vendors and their certificates for the virtualization. Security has two types of certificates: vendor certificates vendor neutral certificates. So vendor certificates, CCNP and CCIE security are good examples. Palo Alto professional certificates, F5 professional certificates. F5 has also firewall implementation. That's why I'm saying F5 here. Okay, so these are vendor certificates. So you are certified from this vendor on his product and solutions, but they are vendor neutral, and these are much higher perceived in the consulting and the security services world. CISSP, CISA, Certified Information Security Auditor, Manager, Certified Ethical Hacker. These are hot certificates, and they will continue to be hot certificates. Okay. Now the question is, do I have, in order to get the 200 or the 6 figures, do I have to know all of this? I think it's close to impossible to be an expert in all of this. Okay, but you can master one and then build the other, and then the third and the fourth, or you can master one or two of them and then have a fair amount of understanding of the others. Okay, but all of them, they could drive you very well above the six figures. Network infrastructure life cycle. What do you mean by that? This is like the human being, birth to death. Okay, the difference is when it comes to infrastructures, the only thing that dies is if you have old equipment, it gets thrown away eventually. So what are the steps that we go through when we are building an infrastructure? Planning, finding a problem, requirements, and then talking about it and understanding what do I need to fulfill that requirement. So I'm building a university, and then I get requirements from every department. We need this much servers, we need this application, Blackboard, we need this, we need the registration application, we need this, we need that. Okay, so these are requirements. How many buildings, how many floors, how many desks, how many printers, how many phones, how many this, how many that. So these are all requirements. Then the requirements goes as an input to the design cycle. So we put together back and forth the right design until it is approved by the client. Once it's approved by the client and the client buys that, then we go into implementing the solution, okay, putting the solution in action. Once it is implemented properly, we do testing, and then we move it into operations. So once it goes into operations, then we have the operational part and the support part if problems happen. Now, with time, we figure out that we could do better with the solution, so we start optimizing. Optimizing could be as simple as upgrading softwares or changing or adding new hardware. Then, after a while, this reaches end of life, or the technology and solution is now 3-4 years in action, and there are much better stuff out there. Then we look at defining the new requirements and planning again to put a new design for enhancement or for a change, forklifting, implementation, Okay, so this is what we call the network infrastructure lifecycle. Why am I mentioning that here? Because later on, when we speak about the job in the next lectures, the potential jobs, you will see that this job matches more or is more involved with design, or maybe it's more involved with implementation, or maybe more involved with consulting and optimization, or maybe more involved with field operational and support. Okay, so that's the reason why we mentioned that here.